The views and opinions expressed on this program are not necessarily those of this station, JVC Broadcasting Management, or its sponsors.
Thanks, everybody, for joining us on another edition of the Mangano Family Foundation Doing Good radio show. And, this radio show, which was started by Sal Mangano and the Mangano Family Funeral Homes and Sal's Family's Foundation, was really started as a way to highlight the different organizations and elected officials and leaders across Long Island who were doing good. Oftentimes we hear, a lot of the bad stuff or negativity across our, media outlets all the time, right? And this is a nice, refreshing place to kind of learn about what's happening locally, some programming. And here today, we're really fortunate to have Catholic Charities of Long Island join us. Just an amazing organization that just does so much. And when I think you hear about it today, you're going to say, wow, that is an amazing, impactful group that's doing so much for everybody across Long Island. So joining us today, we have Michael Smith, the CEO of Catholic Charities of Long Island, and Bill Ayers, Board Chairman of Catholic Charities. So thanks for joining us today, gentlemen.
Thanks for having us. Thanks for having us. Good to be here.
And I'll just kind of go over quickly just a little bit about, little bio points, right? So Michael, graduate of Colgate University, and I think a lot of people don't realize you're a lawyer, right? So you graduated law school, or what?
I actually practiced law here on Long Island for 8 years with the Legal Aid Society in Suffolk County. So I did that, and then I moved into the management side of the nonprofit sector, and I've been there for the last 30 some odd years.
Okay. And Bill Ayers, synonymous with Long Island banking. So, you have an incredible career that spans, over 25 years across a lot of big financial institutions, doing commercial banking, private wealth management, and heavily involved in the nonprofit space. And for the last several years, you've been board chair at Catholic Charities.
Right, yeah, and I got involved in 2017, so it's 9 years coming on 10. So it's been very rewarding being part of Catholic Charities of Long Island, for sure.
So Mike, what was kind of like your, path, to get into the position that you're at now as CEO, and kind of like what led you to the organization and the job you have now?
Well, like I said, I had practiced law for a number of years, moved into the nonprofit side of the organizations, and worked in various C-suite level capacities throughout. So, chief operating officer, CFO, executive director. Then this opportunity arose back in 2022. I interviewed, and it just felt like a calling. This was an opportunity for me that I really wanted. I grew up on Long Island, lived here for a number of years, moved to New Jersey back in 97. But it was so important to me that my family agreed to move back to Long Island because that was part of the deal. Had to be on Long Island to work for Catholic Charities of Long Island. So we did that, and it's been a great experience ever since. It's a terrific organization. The mission is true to form. We really do provide care with dignity to give folks life with hope. We stand by that motto, and it's amazing to see day in, day out, working with folks that are so driven, so client-centered, and really just caring about their work and the people that they serve. It's amazing.
Yeah, and, I think, what you guys do, is just tremendous impact. It's really, grassroots driven. I mean, the impact you make on so many people's lives. But I think people will be surprised about how, large Catholic Charities of Long Island is.
Yeah, our scope is very broad. We operate 10 various ministries or program services throughout the island. So Nassau, Suffolk County, Elmont to the East End, and we'll operate 50 various sites throughout. Addiction treatment services, mental health clinics, homes for the developmentally disabled. We are the largest provider of affordable housing for senior citizens on Long Island. We operate 16 different sites across across Nassau and Suffolk County. So we really do have our hands in a lot of things. We've got about 450 employees. We have about 250 volunteers at any given moment who really do a lot of great work for us. And, we're a mid-sized charitable organization, so our revenue is roughly $45 million. And, what we bring out into the organization stays on Long Island, right? We're very focused on contracting with local vendors when we need, rents on Long Island, if we don't own the properties, and we really do take care to, every dollar that is given to us, we spend on Long Island with Long Islanders, and that's very important.
Yeah, and I think that's, such an important takeaway too is, nothing against, the big national nonprofits that you might see on TV to, give on this website or call this 1-800 number. This, is donations that you get and contributions go right back to support Long Islanders. And that's such an important part.
Right. Agreed. Yeah. We're serving our community. We really are.
And Bill, talk a little bit about, kind of like the board's role and, kind of how you even got, into that spot and kind of what led you to, work so closely with the organization.
Sure. So I think I was mainly inspired by my children to get involved because I remember both of them giving up spring break weeks to do Habitat for Humanity projects. And I'm, now the kids are out of the house. What am I doing, right? And as you had mentioned, I've been in the banking business, mainly here on Long Island for the last 35 years or so. And there's some fulfillment about doing a good job, but not the fulfillment you really need. And I thought that human services is really one way of getting it. Catholicism being very close to my heart to begin with. So I got introduced to a few people that were at Catholic Charities. It was a no-brainer for me to want to be involved. They agreed to take me onto the board back in 2017, and it's been a really eye-opening experience. I think just to add to some of the things Mike was saying, not only are we providing all those services in the scope that goes, again, the size of the island, but it's the most vulnerable Long Islanders. It's seniors. It's getting Meals on Wheels with. It might be the only visitors they get that week. It's veterans needing housing. It's developmentally disabled adults. It's people in the throes of addiction. It's maternity services. It's immigration services, which is such a hot button now because there are many people legally in the system that don't know where to turn. We're a place they can turn to get assistance. So I think what led me here was trying to get a piece of that doing good. And Mike also touched on this earlier. When you see the people on the front lines of Catholic Charities delivering services, it's a mission for these people. It's not a job. And it's so great to see that happening. We take a lot of tours to bring potential donors, potential board members on. And it's one of the best days of the year because you go around and you see these people getting services and people providing services and really doing God's work, not for themselves, for other people, and the church really reaching out into the communities, helping the most vulnerable. And I will say, just to answer your question on the board, we have a very engaged and committed board, and I couldn't be happier with the support that we get. We've had issues come up where we need people to get on phone calls, in a pretty rapid pace, and people are very, very willing to arrange their schedules to meet and chat and be proactive and give ideas. And we've got a myriad of professionals. So we've got attorneys, we've got human resource people, and we've got people from the healthcare field, people from the banking field. So it's a well-rounded board as well, and that's been very fulfilling. I've learned a lot from my fellow board members over the past couple of years as well.
Yeah, no, that's always great when you have such a supportive board that can provide, that to the organization. And, I know you mentioned, seniors and some of the more vulnerable that are in, our communities. And I know Sal and the Family Foundation, they do a tremendous amount of work in giving back and supporting as well. I know recently they actually had a whole, floral. They donated because they also own Family Florist in Deer Park, and they teamed up with the volunteers and the seniors at Spangle Drive Senior Center in North Babylon, did a whole day of creating floral arrangements that they then donated to Good Shepherd Hospice and another organization. So that was a way to kind of get involved in the community. I know that was a good event you guys did.
Yes, that's great. It was very, very well received.
Yeah, that worked out nice. And but that kind of goes So like, I've been doing some reading, and I think it might have been Wall Street Journal. It was some publication, about a year ago, put out an article and talked about the loneliness epidemic that is like sweeping the country. And, you have a lot of people that, are by themselves, and they really just don't have an outlet to be engaged or to get involved in things. They really know how. So I think what you guys are doing to be able to provide those outlets for people are really important.
Yeah.
You want to talk a little bit about maybe some of the programs you have for seniors and some of the activities or initiatives that you might have around that?
Sure, absolutely.
Yeah.
So one of the programs that Bill mentioned was Meals on Wheels, right? So we are a Meals on Wheels provider in both Nassau and Suffolk County. So that means that we are delivering hot meals to seniors 5 days a week. Last year we did about 180,000 meals. Our drivers may be the only person that these folks come into contact with day in, day out, right? They're seniors. They're generally homebound. Their families may have moved off of the island. So really it's the only wellness check that these seniors might get on a regular basis. For those able enough, we have senior programs, which we operate 3 of in Nassau County, in West Hempstead, Oceanside, and I'm blanking on the third.
Montauk?
Montauk, yeah, that's right. I'm headed there tomorrow. I should know that.
There'll be a quiz at the end.
Long Island geography. So, and the seniors there get out, and they're socially engaged. They're active. We'll always have bingo because, we are a Catholic organization, but we'll be sure that everybody gets a balanced lunch. They do other social activities. We'll do field trips when we're able to. So really it's a good opportunity to get the seniors out and active and participate, keep the brains working and all. And the response is great. We get tremendous daily response from the senior citizens in those areas.
And there's a multiplier there, because I think either you or Danielle were telling me about a story where someone was missing from the senior center recently, and the other seniors went and made sure the person was okay and brought them back to the center. Right. So there's a little bit of branching out that happens as well as a result of
absolutely
really creating a community. Yeah.
Exactly. And it's a lively group. It is. At least the ones I've seen.
Well, the bingo can get very competitive.
Yeah, that's for sure.
Maybe we can come up with some good prizes we can head over there with. I'd like to also kind of learn a little bit more about, on the mental health services side, what you guys do there, what type of programming you have, and how that.
Yeah. Also, with respect to the isolation and all, there are folks that are really suffering with it, mental illness, especially post-pandemic. And we see a lot of that. So last year, our mental health clinics were quite busy. There was about a 6% increase year over year. And, we're dealing with all sorts of challenges. People come to us, and there's a lot of crossover, right, between the addiction and the mental illness these days. And it's, the work that we do is important because folks really do need attention, and, we're able to provide it, usually free of charge. So, it really is, it's a lot. We have a clinic in Bayshore, Medford. We also have a residential facility in Bayshore as well for those that need more higher level of care. So it's an important ministry. It's an important program because folks really are dealing with a lot of serious mental illnesses at this time.
Yeah, and I think just taking that first step to seek the help and the support is important.
Absolutely. You want to be available when there is that effort to reach out and ask for help, and we try to do that across the board.
And none of this is possible, to be able to deliver these amazing services that you provide, without being able to get contributions and creating relationships in the business community. you have any, I think you have an upcoming event coming up. You want to talk a little about your annual fundraiser?
Sure, we do. It's actually next Wednesday, which is the 13th, I believe.
Yeah.
It's our Charities dinner, which is our main fundraiser of the year, where we typically honor people, and we've got Joe Fennessy and his daughter Carol, who are going to be the honorees this year. And Joe is I think a Deloitte partner,
Yep.
retired Deloitte partner, who's been very good to us and has done a lot of good things. His daughter Carol is running CYO now, Catholic Youth Organization, and I know I've heard her say this, which has made her a favorite of mine. She wants to put Catholic back in CYO. So,
all right.
So we're honoring them on next Wednesday at the Heritage Club at Bethpage, and again, that's our primary fundraiser for the year. We do a golf outing as well in the fall, Muttontown Club. That's generally in October, but this is coming up, and we'll have 250 people, Mike, probably?
Yeah, at least. It's a nice event. It's a great venue, and tickets are still available. Yes. So if you want, please check out our website. It's catholiccharities.cc, and we'll be happy to accommodate and answer any questions.
Yeah, that's great. And, sponsorships, tickets, whole variety of opportunities. So even if you can't be there, you have obligations that night, please, you could certainly look to make a contribution to support the organization. Sure. And I know, Sal, you've been extremely busy with a lot of different community engagement activities that you and the foundation have been doing. So I know for Easter, Easter's a big, time for you, and you second year in a row, you supported Little Flower Children and Family Services. Yes. With an event there, donating a lot of good stuff for the kids for Easter. Absolutely. And then I know, let's talk a little bit about the vocational scholarship that you have. Curious how that came about, and what are the components of it, and if somebody's interested in applying, how do they do that?
The vocational scholarship is with the Sons of Italy in Deer Park, the Constantino Bermuda Lodge in Deer Park. You can go on their website, sonsofitalyli.com. And it's for anyone who's going to a trade school. And it's a scholarship in honor of my mother, who passed in October 24. And, to try to, sometimes kids who graduate high school, they don't want to go to college. Maybe college isn't the path for them. A friend of mine has a foundation called the Ryan Anthony Foundation, and he's been on the show. And he has monthly meetings where he mentors students who either still in high school or have graduated high school and who want to go into the trades. And that's the trades now are. They're needed. There's hardly anyone going into the trades, so that's why we kind of came up with that scholarship.
Yeah, that's a major issue, kind of force, that's out there right now amongst Long Island businesses. Is hiring and qualified workers, and it's not just the high end engineers, but it's also manufacturing line, it's welders, it's electricians, it's plumbers, that we need all of these industries in order to keep Long Island moving forward, not just with development, but manufacturing as well. And oftentimes you'll see, surveys from executives, and the number one issue right now facing them, not necessarily taxes, it's not necessarily the regulatory environment, it's the hiring and workforce development. So that's great that you have that, and, being able to help identify students that kind of want to go into those career paths, because it's much needed.
Correct. Thank you.
Yeah, that's great. And I know one of the things I think would be surprising when you mentioned affordable or senior housing. How many, talk a little bit about your senior housing program. Is there an application how does that whole process work?
Yeah. So, like I said earlier, we operate 16 housing apartment complexes throughout the island, and there are about 1,300, nearly 1,400 units that we lease. It's a sliding scale. It's based on income, and it's subsidized. So it's very reasonable. The housing, the complexes that I've toured are immaculate. They're really very nice. And, I don't want to necessarily toot our own horn, but it's a great spot for seniors who want to stay on Long Island. They're usually close to transportation. or other supermarket stores, etc. So and we also do run shuttle buses to most of those locations. So there are waiting lists. So applications early are encouraged. Anyone 62 and over can apply, and the waiting lists might be 2 or 3 years. So if you have a senior in mind and they're thinking about downsizing but don't want to relocate off the island, this might be a good fit for them.
And if somebody's interested to learn more, they can find contacts there.
Also our website. Yeah, we're happy to speak to anybody who wants more information on our housing.
And I think one of the big drivers that we're looking to put forward is really like engaging the youth today in supporting like the Long Island non-for-profit community and kind of creating that continuation perhaps of their involvement in high school and the activities they're involved with there and kind of how to building that bridge into involvement in the organization. I know you guys have so many different programs and opportunities, and you recently had an event, I think at St. John's High School. Want to talk a little about some of the events and engagement that you have with our younger generation? Sure.
So the recent event that you're speaking about, Anthony, was a mental health day, right, for the students at St. John the Baptist High School, where they were open to having our panel of experts, our directors of these various ministries, come in and speak to the students about their mental health concerns and just different, get feedback, ideas, techniques on how to deal with different things that they might be facing in their lives. So that was very well received by administration, teachers, and students. This week, Friday, we're also doing the same with the Holy Trinity High School in Hicksville. Same thing, Mental Health Day. We'll have a walk in the morning and then some similar programming throughout the day. We're fortunate because we do get to work with a lot of the Catholic high schools and Catholic elementary schools throughout the island, just in terms of various service projects and such that they'll do in order to help our ministries, our programs along. So, we're fortunate in that regard. And we are starting to work more with the public schools, too. They see the value in volunteerism and philanthropy and helping others. So, our organization, fortunately, is able to take advantage of a lot of those opportunities that present themselves from the public schools as well.
Yeah, and I think speaking to your point, Anthony, we are also trying to build that continuum. So Danielle Campbell, who is our Director of Development and Communications, has done a great job getting into the elementary schools and coordinating with St. John the Baptist and Kellenberg and Trinity for all these programs. I think now what we're going to start to look for is maybe some of the campus ministries at the colleges, and then try and tap into that young professional. Maybe we have a junior board at some point. So the point that you're making, we're addressing, and we're trying to work our way through it to again build that continuum to make sure people know who Catholic Charities is from the earliest ages and continue involvement. And maybe CYO is one of those groups that we do more outreach with now that the relationship with Carol. So it is a big issue to make sure we've got the engagement of that demographic for sure.
Yeah, the interesting is CYO, that could be an interesting relationship to cultivate.
Actually, I omitted that, but Carol and her team have been very supportive of Catholic Charities just in terms of around Mother's Day, which is coming up, and other times when they will do things like provide cards and gifts around Christmas and all. So, we really are in a good place as far as that goes. And the other thing that came up, and I'll refer to our situation. We are always hiring, so that can also. That information can be found on our website as well. So if you have a recent high school graduate, college graduate, send them our way. We're always interested in talking to people about what they can do at Catholic Charities, and we have plenty of room and opportunity for that as well.
Oh, that's great. And what is the website again?
It's catholiccharities.cc.
Excellent. So, we have a few minutes left, but, I kind of just want to hear, a little bit more about, I know we kind of touched on, a lot of programs that you have, but is there anything kind of, if you can just, have a takeaway and talk about, maybe if there's an example of, somebody or a family that, might have been positively impacted by the program, or, a program that we might not have touched on that you want to kind of take a deeper dive into, the floor is yours to kind of, be able to put that out there and talk a little bit more about, about that. And then, again, I think it'll be helpful people to kind of feel that and see it and be able to, have that connection.
Right. Well, with respect to our mental health clinics, I can tell you about one of our directors there who received a telephone call on a late night, but it went through to her cell phone. She took it, and it was someone who was contemplating suicide, and she was able to stay on the phone with that person and really get them to the point where they weren't thinking about that any longer. So it was real, a real kudos to her for being available and also being able to get that person in a place where they weren't thinking about doing themselves harm. That is kind of commonplace with the work that we do, right? Our folks are always ready to go that extra mile, do whatever is necessary to help out, particularly when it really is a life or death situation.
Yeah. I mean, that's, and to have that availability, is, this isn't a, 9 to 5, 5 o'clock, up 5:01, the phone is turned off and, call me tomorrow.
Exactly. So true. These folks, like I said earlier, are so committed to their clients or their patients or the residents that they never do that. I mean, they always want to go the extra step in order to make sure that they're doing what's best for that client or resident or patient. Like Bill said, it really is it's a calling for these folks. They are so mission driven, and it's amazing to see, and it's terrific to witness in person day after day.
And Bill, I'm always, talking and advocating for, Long Island companies and business leaders, to really get involved in giving back and have social and corporate responsibility. And Catholic Charities of Long Island is a great vehicle to do that. Just from your perspective, being such a, longtime person in banking and finance and being around Long Island business, talk a little about why this could be like a really good opportunity, for companies to get engaged.
Oh, totally agree with you, Anthony. It's an organization that you don't know is there, but we're out there every day helping tens of thousands of people every year get food and like we always like to say, we've got great stories. We just need more people to hear it. And I think things like today is a great example of people hearing a little bit more. Maybe they'll be curious. So thank you for the opportunity.
Thank you for joining us.
Thank you, Sal. And I think that the more people hear, the more they would be like to be part of this. And it's a great entree for the business community to go out and do something good and support an organization that's got 400 Long Island employees and 200 volunteers and does a lot of good every single day. Just one side note on the mental health and addiction services side, I probably get more exposure to those ministries in this role than the others. And the people are just incredible. They're just incredible. I sit on phone calls with them, and I'm amazed at how they react to things, how they operate, how they get into a mode of how do we help these people, how do we move this forward, and that's just two of the ministries, and it's like that when I go on the tours. So it's a great organization. If a business is out there and wants to reach a little bit more into helping the vulnerable people of Long Island, we're a great vehicle for it, as you said.
Great. That's incredible. So you can visit them on the website. Mangano Family Foundation has their website at manganofamilyfoundation.com. Also, we'll let you know that if you're on Apple, Spotify, YouTube, iHeartRadio, the Mangano Family Foundation show is now podcast streaming on those platforms, so be sure to check it out. Sal, any parting words?
No, thank you very much for joining us, gentlemen. It was very interesting and very informative, so thank you very much.
Thank you, Sal. Thanks for the invitation.
Thank you.
The views and opinions expressed on this program are not necessarily those of this station, JVC Broadcasting Management, or its sponsors.